Welcome to Chapter 1, Understanding Art. This chapter gives us the basic vocabulary we'll use all semester. Don't worry about memorizing everything right now. Focus on understanding how these ideas help us talk about and interpret art. Pablo Picasso has once said, "Everyone wants to understand art. Why not try to understand the songs of a bird? Why does one love the night, flowers, and everything around one without trying to understand them? But in the case of a painting, people have to understand. If only they would realize above all that an artist works of necessity, that he himself is only a trifling bit of the world, and that no more importance should be attached to him than to plenty of other things which please us in the world, though we can't explain them. People who try to explain pictures are usually barking up the wrong tree." Picasso reminds us that not everything needs a single correct explanation. Art doesn't always work like a math problem. Sometimes our emotional or personal response matters just as much as factual information. Keep this quote in mind as we move through the chapter. Subject is simply the what of a work of art. What can we point to or identify? This could be people, places, objects, events, or even ideas. When artists repeatedly explore certain kinds of subjects, we call these categories genres. It may be difficult to discern the subject of an abstract work of art, and also non objective art makes no reference to the natural world. This painting by Wassily Kandinsky is a strong example of abstract art. There is no clear object or scene to identify, which can feel uncomfortable at first. Kandinsky believed color and form could communicate emotion and spiritual ideas similar to music. I want you to pause and ask yourself, what emotions do the colors and movement suggest? Does it feel calm, chaotic, intense, or energetic? There is no single correct answer with this. How you respond to this piece does matter. Content moves us from the what to the why. It includes meaning, mood, symbolism, and ideas behind the work. Two artworks can have similar subjects, but very different content depending on the artist's intention. Symbolism is often a key component of a work's content. Iconography is the study of symbolic meanings in art. The United States Supreme Court building uses classical Greek and Roman architecture. These styles are often associated with democracy, law, and order. The tall columns, symmetry, and stone material communicate power, stability, and permanence. Ask yourself, why do you think a government building would want to look ancient and unchanging? How might this architecture influence how people feel when they enter? The Parthenon represents ideas of harmony, balance, and proportion that were central to ancient Greek culture. It was not only a religious structure, but also a symbol of civic pride and cultural identity. Consider modern buildings today. What values do you think our architecture communicates about our culture? Let's look at this extension of the Berlin Museum. Daniel Lebskin designed this museum to evoke feelings of fragmentation, loss, and tension. The sharp angles and distorting spaces reflect the trauma associated with the history it addresses. Here, architecture becomes an emotional experience. Ask yourself, how does this building make you feel just by looking at it? Why might discomfort be an important part of its meaning. Form is about how a work is organized visually. When we focus only on line, color, shape, texture, and composition, we're using formalist criticism. This approach ignores story or symbolism and looks strictly at visual structure. Joanne Mitchell's painting here emphasizes energetic brushwork, color contrast, and movement. There's no clear subject, but the form itself creates intensity and rhythm. Many viewers describe emotional or physical responses to her work. Trace the movement of your eye across this canvas. Where do you feel the most energy or tension? Referring back to slide 5, iconography is the study of symbols. Understanding symbols help us uncover deeper meanings, especially in religious, mythological, or historical art. In this painting, it is filled with symbolic figures representing love, jealousy, deception, and time. Without understanding iconography, the image may appear decorative or confusing, each figure as a layer of meaning. Why do you think artists historically relied so heavily on symbols instead of realism alone? Okay, let's look at Theo von Duisberg's cow series on slides 12 through 15. These images show the gradual abstraction of a cow as the subject becomes simplified. The artist focuses more on geometry, color, and composition. This series helps us understand how abstraction does not mean randomness, it is intentional and structured. At what point does the cow stop being recognizable to you? When you look through slides 12 through 15, ask yourself that question. And also ask yourself, does that moment change how you understand the artwork? The visual elements and design principles are the building blocks of visual art. Elements are what we see. Principles describe how those elements were organized, and we'll return to these terms constantly throughout this course. Here we're going to talk about the Arnolfini portrait. This painting uses balance, texture, light, and symbolism to communicate wealth, status, and possible marriage. Small details like the mirror and objects in the room carry symbolic meaning. Choose one detail in this painting. What might it symbolize, and why would this artist include it? Medium refers to the materials used, while technique describes how these materials are handled. These choices affect both form and meaning. Figure 1.9 is by artist Janine Antony. It is titled Null and it was created in 1992. This is a 3-part art installation. It's 600 pounds of chocolate gnawed by the artist, 600 pounds of lard gnawed by the artist, displayed with 130 lipsticks made with pigment, beeswax, and chewed lard removed from the lard cube, and 27 heart-shaped packages of chocolate removed from the chocolate cube. Each cube is 24 by 24 by 24. Overall dimensions are variable. It is at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Okay. Janine Antony physically interacted with the materials in this artwork. The process itself becomes part of the meaning, challenging traditional ideas of beauty, labor, and the body. How does knowing how this artwork was made change how you interpret it? Style is a consistent way of making art. It can describe an individual artist, a group, or even an entire historical period. You are going to be looking at slides 21 through 24, okay? These artworks show how styles reflect different time periods, culture, and personal expression. Even when artists use similar materials, style makes each work distinct. So when you click on slides 21 through 24, ask yourself, which style do you feel most drawn to and why? Is it emotional, visual, or cultural? Realism aims to show the world as it appears, without idealization. However, realism is not the same as truth. Choices are always being made here, okay? Photographs may appear to be realistic, even though they provide highly idealized or even deceptive depictions of their subjects. Let's look at slides 26 through 27 here, okay? These works remind us that even realistic images can be carefully constructed or emotionally charged. Representational art shows recognizable subjects. It doesn't have to look photographic to be representational. This figure is stylized but still recognizable. This is a good reminder that realism exists on a spectrum. Expressionism focuses on emotion rather than accuracy. Distortion is intentional, it helps communicate inner experience. This painting exaggerates color and form to express emotion rather than accuracy. Expressionist artists wanted viewers to feel something immediately. Ask yourself, what emotions do you sense here? How do the color and the brushwork contribute to that feeling? Abstract art simplifies or alters reality, while non objective art doesn't reference reality at all. Both rely heavily on visual elements rather than recognizable subjects. This image here reinforces that art does not always represent visible reality. Meaning can come purely from relationships between color, shape, and movement. How does this kind of art challenge traditional ideas of what art should be?